Hello and welcome to Batcast 66. It's the podcast where every week we watch an episode of the 1966 Batman TV show and talk about it. My name's Kendall.
And I'm Scott.
Today we're talking about uh, Batman Season 2, Episode 5, The Minstrel's Shakedown. It was written by Francis and Marion Cockrell and directed by Murray Golden. And I feel like we've had like this writing team and the director on here before. Uh,
Yeah, Cockerel's kind of a weird name, so it sticks out.
so if you haven't guessed from today's title, the supervillain is the Minstrel.
Yeah, who's another Batman show exclusive villain.
Yeah. Um,
As far as I can tell, they never brought them into the comics. The only other appearance I had is they have a cameo in one of the animated movies based on the series.
Interesting. So it's just this show, huh?
And that's it. And some of the other characters like King Tut and stuff showed up in Brave and the Bold and some of the other more lighthearted Batman stuff, but this guy just showed up here.
I mean, I can't say that
Yeah,
shocks me.
it's just interesting.
Well, I guess it does shock me in this like constant this world of constant reboots, rather, where every piece of IP needs to be mined. I am kind of surprised that no one's taken a crack at this character.
Especially with what well-worn territory Batman is, you know?
Yeah. I do think it's weird that we got the Archer and now we have the Minstrel.
Yeah, they're similar and not at the same time.
Like they're very different characters, but their shtick is like,
Their aesthetic is very similar.
yeah, they're very Ren Fair.
Yeah, but they're doing very different things. But yeah, we should point out the Minstrel's played by Van Johnson, who had a very long career in movies and stuff before this. He was a big World War II time movie actor. I was going through his filmography and I've never watched or heard of any of the things he did, but he's in a lot of stuff, which is cool. Good for him. He was working from the 40s, 1992, you know?
That's pretty cool.
He just and he's not bad in this. I just don't think the character's concept is all that interesting, but I guess we'll get into that when we get into the episode.
Yeah. I mean, do we have anything else we want to touch on? Oh, I had one thing I wanted to touch on unrelated to this episode.
Oh, what's that?
Have you ever seen Singing in the Rain?
No, but I know the one song, the one scene from it.
Of course, everyone does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I recently watched the movie. Or rather, I attempted to watch the movie.
Yeah.
I watched a good chunk of it. I did fall asleep shortly after the big number.
Was it just you were just tired, or was the movie that unengaging?
No, no, I was just tired.
Yeah.
It's actually was pretty entertaining.
Okay.
But anyway, the first like the opening lines to this movie,
Hmm.
like you hear somebody, they're not on screen when they start talking, but then it slowly gets to them. And it's like, whoa, I know this voice.
Oh, really?
And she's probably what, like 12 to 14 years younger. I forget how exactly when Singing in the Rain came out. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's Aunt Harriet's actor, Madge
Really?
Blake, I think her name is. Yeah, she just has the opening lines of Singing in the Rain.
Is she in the movie as a character, or is it just a narration thing?
She plays a character, pretty minor role,
Okay.
but
Hey, that's still cool.
yeah, I thought it was fun to see her. I know she's in a very early Munsters episode, but
I haven't watched the Munster since we started getting into Batman. I watched last time I saw that was a few years ago.
oh
But
yeah,
I like the Munsters a lot. I loved it as a kid too.
oh yeah, it's very funny.
But that's
But yeah,
cool. Yeah.
it's just fun to see like the actors in this show. I pretty much only know them from this.
Yeah. Like I know Adam West and Burt Ward were in like a bunch of like really crappy B movies and stuff over the years. And I know I've seen some of them, but like I can't remember anything about them. And I know
Yeah,
that was like a problem they had where they got like everyone just knew them as Batman and Robin, but like I just know them as Batman and Robin.
yeah.
You
Whoops.
know?
But yeah, it's funny. Aunt Harriet in particular, she's the one I see more often than anyone else, oddly enough.
What else is she in then?
Oh, I mean, we can definitely look her up. Just yeah. I mean, just those two things really, but that's more than I've seen any of these other actors in. Of the regular every episode actors, I mean,
Oh,
like
it looks like
Cesar
she was in a lot
Romero.
of TV shows over the years. So she must have just been like a character actress, which is fine. Which would make sense, you know. Because she's not like, is she like, would you call her like a regular in the show? Because she shows up every once in a while, but like isn't usually like much. Like I would say like Alan Napier as Alfred is like much more of a regular. He's in like every episode.
Yeah, I mean, she's in almost every episode.
I
Um,
feel like she's like in like one scene, like if that, if she
Even
shows
so,
up.
I mean, I would still consider that a recurring role. Um,
Okay,
I just thought that was fun, and I wanted to bring it up.
fair enough.
Anywho, all right, let's get into this episode. I don't know if people can tell from my cadence, but I'm personally not that excited.
Yeah, this wasn't this wasn't a high point. I think this was very middle of the road, at least so far. Maybe the second half they like pull it out.
Yeah, we'll see. So we open at the Gotham City Stock Exchange. And, I'm not a financial bro. I can't say what stocks are doing, but some seem to be crashing while others seem to be skyrocketing.
And apparently that's unusual, but I'm like, isn't that what stocks do?
I wonder if things were like more stable back in the mid 60s. I wouldn't be
Maybe.
surprised, honestly.
But both of us aren't like money guys, so I don't like in finance, so I don't know. I don't play the stock market.
Yeah. Uh in his office, Gordon is watching a news report about this when the broadcast is interrupted by the minstrel. Yeah, this is the minstrel's first appearance. Like, no one recognizes him.
Yeah,
Oftentimes, like,
yeah.
we,
I made a note for later when the after Batman involves, but like he's like, I've never heard of this person before. It's like, oh, is this like the first time since like Zelda the Great where like this is Batman's first like encounter with like this character,
yeah, which is, it's
which is kind of
interesting.
cool.
I like wonder like what determines like how they decide to play that.
Although I think King Tut was also the first time he like tangled with Batman, but Batman knew who he was because he was a professor that got hit in the head or whatever.
Yeah, but I think he knew of the King Tut persona. I think it was
Maybe.
played like they had
All right.
battle.
I don't remember detail like I don't remember the detail, but that might have been anyway. Yeah. But this is like first time it's completely like a new person and like straight up to Batman,
Yeah, I
which is
I did think that
cool.
was fun.
But yeah, so I wanted to point out Commissioner Gordon's like wall TV. I can't imagine TVs were like this existed back in the mid 60s where like it's big and like in the wall and flat. Like this is back when TVs were like big in like a box.
Yeah, I think it's less that it's flat and more that because all right, time to get nerdy. The way TVs used to work is that there's like basically like a gun inside of the TV that's like shooting a laser very fast. That's why when your old TV starts to break, you see those like lines.
Yeah, that's the cathode ray tube, which is why they're called CRT TVs.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Look at you. You know the deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I imagine all that is just in the wall and it's not really a flat TV.
I know, it's just strange that like it's his work office, and he has this like really like expensive kind of setup, I'm sure. Like if this was in like the Batcave or even Bruce Wayne's like house in Stately Way Manor, like I would be like, well, he's a millionaire. And
Maybe it
and
was
he's and he's
donated.
and he's a crime fighter downstairs. So
So the minstrel, he uh he offers to protect all the stockbrokers from any further tragedies uh for a measly sum of $1,000 a week
per person,
per broker. Yeah.
yeah, because they do
um
the math and it's like $2,500 a week or something.
or $25,000.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, where it's like it's actually like a much bigger number because $1,000 doesn't sound like that much. Like if that's just all it was, but
Yeah, so Mr. Cortland, who's the president of the stock exchange,
yeah,
calls up Commissioner Gordon, and Commissioner Gordon's like, I'm gonna get my best guy on it.
and we all
And
know
you
who his
know,
best guy is.
we've seen all this before.
Well, what was kind of cool because they showed like Bruce Wayne and everyone were watching the broadcast when all of this went down too, and I like that Bruce Wayne's already like on his way to the bat phone before it calls.
Yeah, yeah. And when he answers, he's like, yeah, we saw it.
We're on our way.
Yeah. In that scene when Bruce and Dick are watching, Aunt Harriet is also watching and declares that, the minstrel is a very handsome fella.
Yeah, because that's how this always works whenever there's a man or a woman on screen.
I feel like this is the first time though.
Like a non-Batman man.
Yeah, like usually it's like people are in love with Batman. And
Well,
I
this guy's a musician. You know what that's like. Yeah, they're irresistible.
I wonder if it was like something to do with the actor, because you said he's has such like a
He was kind of a heartthrob. Like he actually like now that I was looking at my research pages, I had up a little bit more and scrolling around. I don't know how I missed this, but like he has a signature and handprints in cement that was at in front of the Great Movie Ride at Walt Disney World's Disney Hollywood Studios back in the day, just
interesting.
which is kind of cool, just because I like theme park history.
Huh.
But like I said, he was in a lot of stuff. Like his big movie was apparently a movie called A Guy Named Joe, which I never heard of, but apparently it was like a big deal at the time.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. Like yeah, all of his biggest movies I've never heard of, but he was in just a lot of stuff. Which
So
again, good for him. Like, like some of these years he had like 5 movies come out in like the 40s.
yeah, I mean that's awesome. People
Yeah.
worked hard back in the day, and movie studios were set up a lot differently back then than they are now.
Yeah. Like apparently he played himself on I Love Lucy, so he must have been like he was in well enough name to be there then. So they get in the Batmobile and get to police headquarters.
Yeah. They get there, the president of the stock exchange meets them. All business as usual. Robin says, like, oh, like minstrels use music and electronic devices use like waves, and music is just waves. And they make a real roundabout connection to this whole plot.
Yeah, because apparently like being able to be a musician means he's like an electronics genius. And I don't know enough about music or electronics to dispute that. But I mean you play bass and stuff. Like, can you strum your instrument and then make the TV change channels and stuff?
Sure can.
Yeah. It felt really like a stretch at best.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty strange.
They could have
Uh,
just made him like an electronics inventor who just happens to play the lute.
yeah, that felt like really forced.
Yeah. I didn't love it, but I buckle up because that's like his big thing is being an electronics genius.
Yeah,
Like even
which
more so
is
than playing the
so
instrument.
weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
it really makes it seem like they had a script And then like the costume department was just like, oh, we have this minstrel costume lying around.
Yeah, like they just needed like a gimmick for him, because every Batman villain has a gimmick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird that I mean, I get why he doesn't just like fight normal mobsters in this show. Like it's visually less interesting, but yeah, this could have just been a guy.
Yeah. I would have been okay with like even if they just did like he's a big nerd and like leaned into that.
Yeah, but maybe that's too much like bookworm. I don't know.
I don't know. See, Bookworm was really specific in like his look and like what he was about. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Anyway, the dynamic duo, they head to the stock exchange and they're I don't know what exactly they're examining. They keep calling it like the circuitry, but I guess
Yeah,
it's like the the machine that either like receives or sends out like data for like stock prices.
I guess.
Anyway, they are very um they say that they see no signs of tampering, but like they're talking in a way where they're like obviously lying.
Yeah, they're saying it in like loud and clearly. Yeah.
And it's a good thing because they're being listened in on by the minstrel himself. We see his fairly basic headquarters.
Yeah, he's got two goons and a lady. Bass in trouble and oh, her name was Octavia. I did write it down because like octave.
Ah, funny.
Yeah.
I didn't catch any of their names.
Well, Bass in Trouble also have a Bass in Trouble on their shirt.
Ah, cool.
Like I'm not really musically inclined, but like I did try to play a lot of instruments as a kid. So I did at one point I did know how to read sheet music. So I
That's
knew what
pretty
those
cool.
things were, but
Yeah, I have no idea how to read that.
yeah. So you can just feel the music and it comes out of you. I can't do anything with music.
Feel the music, man.
I barely can listen to
Anyway,
it.
they revealed to Gordon and the president, like, they're like, hey, actually, this circuitry was sabotaged. We're going to try to set a trap for the minstrel now.
Yeah, and I like that Chief O'Hare is like, "Oh, you want my men? Like, we can set a trap." And then Batman and Robin like, "No, we need to do this ourselves." And then Commissioner Gordon is like, "Well, we need to be careful on all these things." And then Batman mentions all of these villains they went up against, which was kind of cool. I wrote them down. He said, Penguin, Archer, Clock King, who we haven't seen yet, Catwoman, and King Tut. And it's funny that like the characters that they chose because if this was any other Batman thing, they'd be like, "Oh, the Joker and stuff." And it's funny, like Archer was one of them. Like he just happened in like he only happened once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But we haven't seen Clock King yet. I know he's later in the season, so
yeah, I think we're getting him pretty soon. Now
yeah.
I'm interested if he's going to be treated as a recurring villain or if this story takes place after that one.
Yeah, we'll have to try to pay attention to that.
Yeah, we'll have to, hopefully we remember.
I think we'll remember because now we're having this conversation and then I'm going to edit it, so I'll have to listen to it at least one more time.
Cool. Back in the Batcave, Alfred expresses concern over Batman and Robin's like eating habits. And then he's also concerned about his financial future.
Yeah, as he put some money in the stock market, which I'm surprised Bruce Wayne didn't have any like a stake in this as well.
Yeah, I wonder. See, I don't know much about how like millionaires work, but I wonder if
Well, I gotta
like
imagine like Wayne Companies or Wayne Enterprises or whatever he has like is publicly traded. So
well,
he would
no,
own stock in that.
but he doesn't have Wayne Enterprises in this. He has the
I know
Wayne Foundation.
I know that all they ever talk about is the Wayne Foundation, but like his parents had to make money from something, which
Oh,
they never get
doctor.
into in this show. Like his
Um,
dad had a clock tower or whatever named after him.
yeah. Well, isn't he like a doctor?
Well, traditionally in the comic stuff, he's a doctor, but I don't know if he was in. I don't know if they got into that in this.
Yeah, I wonder if it was more common for millionaires to like maybe be so like these days, like, yeah, you're a millionaire, but like usually all your finances are wrapped up like in the market or like
Yeah, it's
in
more like on
assets.
paper than like you don't have $1 million sitting, under your mattress.
So I wonder if that's like more common for Bruce. But yeah, I guess his money has to be making money somehow. So
Yeah,
I
it'd pay for all of these bat drones and things he builds.
don't know. Anyway, Alfred's a
Although
little concerned.
I wonder if the government gives him like a stipend since he's like a deputized like agent.
How would he? Yeah, who knows?
I don't know, it's just something to think about. Like this show is really not interested in getting to like how the finances work, and Batman stuff in general is usually not interested in it because that's not what makes Batman cool.
Yeah, I feel like the Christopher Nolan films like came closest to like caring about that at all.
Yeah, and that's because they brought it, and like that, they also did it in a way where like they made Lucius Fox like a bigger role in those stories, and that makes sense. Especially because like that universe was trying to be more realistic than Batman usually is, so like they needed to explain why a lot of his technology is the way it is, which
Yeah,
is a fun approach. But this is not. This is super not what this show goes for.
yeah, truly not. So Batman, Batman is he plants a listening device in the stock exchange. Then he and Robin like hide in a closet or something and they listen in.
Yeah,
Um, they hear a whistling sound.
yeah. It's like a lady that's like
Well,
like oh yeah, because she's
they
whistling.
think it's the minstrel because she's whistling the
Yeah,
same song like he was playing on the television.
and I forget what they said the song title, and I for whatever reason I didn't write that down. Um, because I guess it's a real song. Um, so this lady, did you think she was gonna be like one of his goons, like in makeup and stuff?
No, I thought I could see like the setup. Like
Did
it
you
was
did you
go ahead.
recognize who that was?
Oh yeah, from the Scooby-Doo movies.
Yeah, it's Phyllis Diller as a cameo.
Yeah. What else has she done?
Like a ton of stuff. I like that was a name I knew outside of Scooby Doo movies as a kid. So I got to imagine she was like around,
Let's
but I didn't pull her up. I just was like, oh, that's kind of funny.
Oh yeah, she's done a lot of stuff. Let's see if there's
I mean, she was in
anything.
Family Guy, so
Oh, whoa.
yeah,
Let's see
that's
if
all you.
there's anything super notable. I know the Scooby-Doo movies. Um, yeah, she plays herself in a lot of programs.
She must have just been famous for being famous at some point.
Yeah, she plays herself in The Jeffersons,
She's herself in so many TV shows.
plays
Oh my
herself in
god.
Full House.
Yeah. Well, she had the Phyllis Diller show in the 60s.
Hmm.
So look, oh, she was in a lot of variety shows, it looks like.
She does a lot of voice acting too.
Yeah, which is cool.
She's in A Bug's Life, Captain Planet, King of the Hill, Cow and Chicken, and I Am Weasel.
Yeah. Wild Thornberry's Hey Arnold. Yeah. Phil Stiller's cool. I have nothing against her.
Cool. Very cool.
She was in a Powerpuff Girls episode.
Oh yeah. Well, that's fun. 31 episodes of Bold and the Beautiful.
She was in 3 episodes of Family Guy as Thelma Griffin.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Neither do I. That was way after I was watching that show.
But yeah,
Anyway, yeah,
so
that was a fun little random thing. I'm only looking out for people like when they're climbing up a building, but I guess cameos can show up wherever.
yeah, we got to be on our toes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, funny because we had what in the last episode it was James Brolin, right?
Yeah. Yeah, James Brolin.
But that
And
was
then
less of a cameo and more of just like an early role for him.
yeah, it was more of an early role. Like the before that we had I don't remember his name. Dick Cavett was did a window one.
Word.
Or no, or was no, it was it Dick Clark? It was
I
some
am one.
Dick.
Some dick.
Uh
Um, so yeah, as the dynamic duo like are like, oh, we made a mistake. Uh the minstrel gets the jump on them and blinds them with like a
which was
firework.
it's like an evil sparkler. And just
Yeah.
it just defeats them. It's so lame.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, he gets away. Um, and yeah, I guess they were trying to catch him like removing his devices from
Which to be
the
fair, like he was.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, he missed one and Batman gets it. So now we get kind of a funny like thing from here
Yeah,
on out where like
I enjoyed it.
Batman and the Minstrel are like kind of like at odds, like trying to outwit each other. Like, oh well, like I know that I left that thing, so like Batman's gonna do this, so I'm gonna do this. But then like Batman's like, well,
I
I
know
know
that he
that he
knows.
knows.
Yeah. Because what does Batman say? Like something about him being like a potentially one of the biggest technological geniuses ever, and then it cuts to Minstrel saying that about like the exact same phrase about Batman.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny.
Yeah. Like there's a seed of a cool character here.
Yeah, I just don't get why he has to be a minstrel.
Yeah, the Minstrel part like is not adding anything and is actively taking away from it. Like I would be more interested if he was like a Pied Piper type character and like something about like the music he uses is like hypnotic. Like that would have been something.
Yeah. Oh well, whatever. Um, so yeah, the minstrel is like setting a trap for Batman because he's like, okay, Batman's gonna like trace my next broadcast.
Yeah, which he mentions that they have a studio that's separate from like their lair, so they'll lure him to the studio so they don't know where their lair is. Which is
Yeah,
like, oh, that's kind of if you're gonna set a trap for Batman, yeah, why set it up where you live?
that's true.
No.
Um, so yeah, Batman like gets this drone, which is
Yeah,
pretty interesting. I like,
yeah, it's like a little black plane, but like apparently, like it can be set to like kind of follow like the wavelength or whatever that he's using to like override like television and stuff.
um, did drones like this exist in this fashion? I guess like this this is kind of a case where like fiction precedes reality because
There had to have been like an element of this that was real. I mean, obviously this doesn't have like guns and like destructive capability, and they're not remote they're not like controlling it with like how you would have one now, where just they kind of set it on its thing and like just track it. I know that does have like a return switch, but I think that just
yeah,
brings it back.
yeah, it doesn't seem like a killer drone like the military uses to kill
I'll be honest, I don't know enough about like the history of
builders.
drones.
But it seems like maybe it's like similar to like a delivery drone that like Amazon would use in like San
I guess
Francisco
in
or
terms of like
something.
function, but like in terms of like design, it's just a little plain. Like it's not like it doesn't have like the for like helicopter blades that like those drones do.
Oh, sure, sure, sure.
Because this doesn't have to like carry anything around. I think it just can like follow something.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it's very basic and simple and primitive by our standards today, but this was probably really cool at the time.
Yeah. So the drone, it tracks the broadcast to Willow and 4th Street.
Hmm.
And Batman and Robin head to the Batmobile. They tell Alfred to like flip the switch to recall the drone.
Yeah.
Which, like, I wonder if that's gonna play into something.
Maybe the drone's kind of cool. Like,
I don't know. It felt like why couldn't Batman just flip the switch and like
well, yeah, it was dumb because he leaves the console and immediately tells Alfred to bring it, like hit the switch. And Alfred clearly doesn't know what he's doing.
yeah, so like I wonder if that's gonna play into like the plane does come back, but I wonder if that's gonna play into how they get out of the death trap.
Maybe. I'm not we'll get into the death trap when we get there, but I have a feeling it's gonna be a real ass pull because they usually are.
They usually are.
I like last time I know that they set stuff up and I really liked that, but like I don't expect that every time and I won't continue to expect that because they've just yeah, they've all been kind of just lame for the most part.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it really feels like now they're in the mode of like, okay, we gotta pump a ton of these out.
Yeah, this one feels very by the numbers. Like it's not bad, it's not unentertaining, but like when I was taking notes and stuff, I'm just like, I don't know what we're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, it's like it can be formulaic, but if you have like Roddy McDowell really elevated the character like Bookworm. I almost said Roddy Piper. Um,
I wish she was in this.
that would have been that's a world that I would like to see. But you know what I mean? Like he really elevated the material. Like the guy who played King Tut, like made what on paper is kind of a lame villain, like really fun to watch, and made kind of like a dumb plot like more interesting. But you know, it's just and I'm not saying Van Johnson's doing a bad job, but it's just the character I think fundamentally isn't there on a writing from a writing standpoint.
Yeah, there's not doesn't seem to be much to work with.
Yeah. I mean, he's not a terrible singer. Like, you know, we get a couple of songs from him, but
Yeah, it's whatever.
yeah, but like because he's playing like a lute, it's very Ren Fair, and it's just like I
And
don't
we
know.
just had this kind
We
of
just yeah, at least he's not talking in a really annoying like speech pattern.
but even that was kind of funny because like
Yeah,
they
that was something to
used
talk about at least, you know,
and it was like the old English like speech pattern with the accent of like someone
like a
from
Brooklyn.
New York, you know?
Yeah, it was very strange. At least it was at least a choice.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, they do their back climb and they get to the top of this abandoned warehouse.
Or
And
whatever it is. Yeah,
yeah, they sneak in and granted, I'll give the minstrel some credit. Like this is the first time that he's fought Batman,
yeah,
but like I don't know, it just seems like you had the chance to get the drop on them and all you have is your like goons waiting and I mean for his credit it works. They capture them.
yeah. Well, you know, Batman and Robin climb into a room that has a lot of stuff that you can smash into each other, so you know there's going to be a big fight.
Yeah, it's just like weird because like I mean who know like we don't know what's going to happen next episode, but Batman and Robin I assume are going to fight these two guys again and they're just going to win next time, you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. But anyway, we
Like
have a big onomatopoeia battle. And the Octavia and Minstrel are like watching on like closed circuit TV. And I like that Octavia is like bam and pow as like bams and pows and stuff are going on.
yeah,
That's
that was
fun. Um, yeah, so I mean, long story short, like, yeah, obviously Batman and Robin like prevail. They like, oh no, the guys like escape and run down the hallway and like go into a room, right?
Yeah.
Because
Something
yeah,
like that.
because Batman and Robin chase him, but like they're throwing like this might be how they get out of the trap. I don't know what they were doing, but they were throwing something onto the floor between the two rooms.
It was like some like sticky stuff.
It
I
looked like
don't
they
know.
were throwing like darts into the floor, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Because I was like, oh, I wonder what that is. Like, but then like they're like, all right, they're in this room, so Batman and Robin back up and just like run and smash through the door and are just captured off screen.
Yeah. So like they go through the door and like I don't know if it's like
I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved watching them blast through that prop door. It was really funny.
well, yeah. So like does it look like that because it's like a prop in the real world? And
I
like
assume it is, and I assume it was meant to give way like that.
yeah, like was that the trap?
I don't know. I don't think it is.
Yeah. It's
But
weird.
I guess they wanted to lure Batman and Robin to another place. But like, because then when you like hard cut and they're like tied together on like a roasting spit, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is the second time in a row like the bad guy was trying to cook Batman and Robin.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Yeah,
And like, you know, Catwoman is absolutely insane in this universe.
yeah,
And I guess that like not that it makes sense for her, but it's like, okay, you want to cook them, whatever. You're crazy.
yeah. The
This
minstrel seems to be a pretty, for lack of a better term, pretty normal guy.
yeah, he's like put together.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think it's kind of weird that he's like, oh, we can do you rare, medium, or well done.
I'll take my Batman rare, please.
Yeah, so strange. So yeah, they're getting roasted.
Um,
And that's how the episode ends.
well, they changed the instead of saying hey, same bat time, same whatever. What do they say? Oh,
Oh, same
same hot
hot
time, same
time.
hot channel. It's always fun when they play with that stuff, but
I agree. I have fun with that.
that's not. But that one's not nearly as cool as when they changed like cat or whatever when it's Catwoman. You know, I guess because that rhymes more. But yeah, not we've seen worse episodes, I think, but like this one's extremely not memorable. Like I said, maybe they pull it out and have an interesting second half. But I like the idea of like them being more on like the same term of like being able to like we're like like they keep being sort of one step ahead of each other. That's kind of neat, but it doesn't really like do much to make it more interesting. Like I said, I think that's the seed of an interesting idea. You know, because Batman's a scientist, like someone being able to challenge him on that level versus like it's different than like the Riddler's riddles. Also because like Robin always figures them out in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I just don't think this guy is like charming or interesting.
I guess we'll save this for after we're done his story complete. But like, I think he's the lamest of the original characters so far
Oh yeah,
because it's
for
between him
sure.
and the Archer. But like, I've seen how Archer kind of ends, and there's some fun stuff in it. Um, so I want to give him the second half, but
Yeah.
uh,
Um,
it's just I don't know. The Maharaja Joker episode was way worse. Like that was straight up bad, which is the one you skipped for our original like watch through. But that was more of a scheduling conflict. But
oh yeah, that's when I was like on tour or whatever,
yeah,
right?
you're on tour for that one. But uh, I know you did watch it after the fact, so we could talk about it season like when we talked about season one. But yeah, I don't know. Like I'm not opposed to like these original characters. I have an open mind for them, especially after first season. Most of them are pretty good. Um,
Yeah, I'm all about original characters, you know.
yeah,
Um,
it's just the ones this season feel like what have we got? And we have a bunch of medieval crap. And like that's not making an interesting Batman villain. And like I said, the potential's there. Like I think Archer being like a Robin Hood type character could be interesting. Like the turns the people against Batman, maybe turns them against Bruce Wayne because he's a rich guy. Like
that would
I
be
don't know. I
fun.
think I think there's fun things you could do.
Yeah, but it,
But
it feels to me,
yeah,
honestly, like they're like, okay, they write a bunch of plots and then like they see who they can get.
yeah. I do know a lot of like famous actors and actresses who are like calling them to like be on the show.
Yeah, yeah, but
So
it's like I think like once they get there, they're like, okay, like who do we have for this guy?
I mean, and a lot of them could probably also just be the cameos that I know are going to become more and more common as the show goes on. But I
Yeah,
don't know. I do know like they would have like I know they specifically said in some interviews they said that they would keep Penguin scripts on hand just for whenever Burgess Meredith's available, like they'll get him ready to go. Like so, there's probably there is going to be element. I think there is elements of like they just have a bunch of stuff and then just plug it in later.
yeah. Well, like, and that makes sense to me. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
like,
and I do know we discussed in some of the other episodes like some of these are based on the comics too.
yeah, that's true.
You know, but like yeah, the one was a Joker story, but they plugged the Riddler into it in the show.
Yeah, and those two are similar enough as it is.
Yeah. But like, I wasn't like completely like like I wasn't unentertained watching this. It's still fun, like Batman, Robin, and Alfred and those guys are still fun to watch. But I was more bored than I normally am watching like even like a kind of a middle of the road episode.
Yeah. Well,
But they're not all
hopefully,
gonna be like crazy every time. So
yeah. Wouldn't
it's
that
just
be
it just was
nice?
disappointing is that those two Catwoman episodes we just had were pretty, in my opinion, like above average. Like I'm not sure if I would call them like S tier or anything, but I did
Yeah.
very much enjoy them.
I mean, so far they're leaps and bounds better than anything season two has given us. But
Yeah.
granted, we've
We're
only
only on
seen,
episode 5 of season
yeah,
2, so there's like 30 plus episodes or something season 2.
yeah,
Season 2 has a lot of episodes.
yeah, we got a lot.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think we have uh I think season 2 has an interesting lineup of villains.
Cool.
So
Well, before we get to that, make sure you tune in next time for the conclusion of this here minstrel's tale. And we'll see you then. Same Batcast time, same Batcast channel.